in an unprecedented move to put Batman on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Just Batman in general?
Just Batman. Not Adam West, which he's
Sure.
probably on there. Not George Clooney, he's probably on
Definitely on there.
there.
Michael Keaton.
Christian Bale.
I mean, anybody who has played Batman at this point.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, Ben Affleck deserves to be, without a doubt. He's got to be on there.
They're putting Batman on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Except
now,
for maybe Val Kilmer. Is Val Kilmer on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Iceman. Should be. Did he pass away? Throat cancer? Right? Remember the big character in Tom Cruise's movie, which I've seen 27 times?
Yes. I am not sure if Val Kilmer is
Still with us.
I am not going to commit to that.
Anyway, they're putting Batman on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. This feels like a very bad move. Batman is not a person. Batman is a character. Not only is he a character, he is a character played by actors who are on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Is this or is this not a slippery slope to other influential, memorable characters being put on the Walk of Fame?
But because I guess he's been played because, I mean, obviously Robert Pattinson has played Batman as well. It's one of the most various versions of animated voices have taken on the Batman role. But because they reboot it so often, is that why they're doing it? Because I think of, like, when we talked about with James Earl Jones. When James Earl Jones passed away, one of the characters that he is most known for, clearly, and is Darth Vader. Like, he
known
is one
for,
of the,
except for Chew. He was the only one in the history of the world that didn't know that he was the voice of Darth Vader.
Correct. But Darth Vader, I mean, he was a villain, so I don't want to call him beloved. But, you know, that is a very memorable character. That's a character that has lived on for a long time. But because Batman's been played by and rebooted so many times, is that the reasoning behind this?
I don't know what the reasoning is. I don't know what the criteria is. I thought you had to be an actual living, breathing human. I asked.
Wait, is Batman real? Have we put that? Have we debated? Have we maybe Batman's a real person and that's why they're doing this.
Well, then Batman should show up to the Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony, and he is not. Do you know who is accepting the star for Batman? The president of DC Comics or something like that. Like, this is insane to me. Now, the guys did inform me that Mickey Mouse is on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, that Minnie Mouse is on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, that Snow White is on. But those are animated characters, not played by multiple people over multiple generations, multiple iterations.
Than Snow White. I mean, Snow White has been. Same thing with Mickey. Like, it's not the same voice for Mickey Mouse that was back in the 40s.
No, but I'm talking about the voice. I'm talking about the character of Mickey Mouse.
Sure.
But it's an animated character as opposed to a character played by people.
Batman was animated.
Yeah,
Initially, yeah.
There's a ton of Batman animated, like, different little movies. Batman the Animated Series. I think they rebooted one recently on Amazon. If Mickey and Minnie are there, I've got no problem with Batman being there.
Okay, let me ask you this. He's the first superhero on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Shouldn't the first superhero have been, I don't know, Superman?
No, Superman stinks. Superman sucks.
Superman is literally an alien. He has superpowers. Batman has no superpowers.
Yeah, that's what makes him cool.
No, that's what makes him a dork.
No, that's what
He's
makes him
just super
great.
strong, hanging out there in that basement lair of his.
Yeah, and guess who
forcing Alfred to do all of his bidding.
Well, he's not forcing him.
Well, he's paying.
There's a
him,
good
probably.
paycheck. There's a good paycheck in it for
bucks in
Alfred. Yeah, like, come on. If you've got the money that the Waynes have, yeah. If Mickey and Minnie are there, I got no problem with Batman being there. I didn't realize that. Like, I thought this was going to be like the first non-person, the first character. But no, if there are other characters there, then I've got zero issue with this.
I'm happy to report Val Kilmer is still with us and was given a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1999.
Ooh, excellent news there.
Damn, a long time ago.
Well, that would have been the high tide, if you will, for Val Kilmer.
Well, but I mean, the Hollywood Walk of Fame is like the Hall of Fame, of acting, right?
So one more little detail to just throw your way. It costs $75,000 to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. These actors and actresses who have been honored in that way put up big bucks. Maybe not to them, but big bucks.
Wait, you have to pay for your own star?
Correct. Who is ponying up the dough for Batman?
DC.
Yeah, well,
They got enough money.
Is this working for them? Is this like we're talking about it, and I'm sure other people are talking about it, but like, what is the payout here? What is the end game here?
Well, again, I think that that's a very high honor, and if there are other characters in the history of movies and entertainment that are out there, yeah, then why not? Opens the door for other ones.
Okay, so let me ask you this: they say Batman is one of the most iconic fictional characters in the world. Who are some of the other more iconic fictional characters in the world? The most iconic fictional characters in the world.
Does Bugs have one?
It's a good question. Excellent question.
If Mickey and Minnie are there, Bugs deserves to be there.
Looney Tunes?
Yeah, well, that's them. Yeah, I'm saying he kind of represents the overall. I doubt Goofy has, or maybe he does. But when you think of Disney and their characters, Mickey, Minnie are typically 1, 2.
So here are some of the most popular fictional characters: Sherlock Holmes.
No.
Atticus Finch.
No.
Anakin Skywalker.
No.
Okay, somebody from Star Wars is getting on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, right?
Well, but no, because I don't think so. I don't think you need that, because it's not going to be. I mean, they've continued the story and they're continuing to build out, but there's not like one through line. They're not rebooting it the way Batman gets rebooted, the way that Mickey, Minnie are always featured in whatever series they happen to be in.
I'm going to find one that is more iconic than Batman. Indiana Jones.
No.
What?
No.
How is Indiana Jones not more iconic than Batman? Again, I guess I got to put my biases out there. I think Batman is a second-rate superhero.
See, that's where you're wrong.
The rest of the world disagrees.
Yeah. that's.
I guess you can believe whatever you like.
I thought that
you can
superhero required superpowers. Batman has none. Ergo, not really a superhero.
But that's
he's more
also
like a glorified rich guy.
But that's why he's also one of the more interesting characters to dive into, which is why the series has been rebooted so many times and people continue to come back to it. Because guess who's more relatable? The super rich guy or the alien who can only be stopped by a mystical stone?
If we're putting rich guys who are sort of quasi superheroes on there, then Iron Man's got to go on there.
Okay, so you want to talk about second-rate superheroes?
Iron Man is incredible.
Is
Iron
the
Man
most second-rate, again, we can get as nerdy as we would like here, but the only reason that Iron Man became a movie is because Marvel sold off all of their actual valuable properties and went, oh, maybe we need to get in on this, and then got lucky with Robert Downey Jr. and were able to build now what they have.
Are you trying to tell me that my argument that Superman is a better superhero than Batman is falling flat?
Yeah, 100%.
He's literally Superman.
Yeah, but guess who took him out? Batman.
Did Batman take him out, or did Batman's tools take him out? Did Batman's toys take him out? Let's be honest. Okay, I got a more iconic character. A more iconic character than Batman should have been on the Hollywood Walk of Fame before Batman. If he was not, Josh, you're going to have to do a little research here. James Bond. James Bond is hands down more iconic than Batman. How many James Bond movies are there? 34? I'm throwing a random number out there. I want to be clear.
25 or 26.
Is it really?
Yeah, 25 or 26.
Did you need to know that for a trivia contest?
No, I just remember they made a big deal out of, I think it's 26, because I think the second to last one for Daniel Craig, they made a big deal out of it being the 25th one. And I think he did one more after that. So I think it's 26.
James Bond is not on there, but all the actors that have played him are. When you're so... The one that makes James Bond always has been a human. There's been no fictional James Bond.
Yeah.
So they just honor James Bond by putting on all the people who've played him.
Yeah. Because Batman started as a comic book character, was an animated character. Now he's been able to be on screen, be animated. The comic books, they all continue. Like he has all these forms of mediums that they're pushing out there to consume Batman content.
27, according to Rotten Tomatoes, James Bond movies, and it tells you how you can watch them in order, should you so choose. James Bond is way more iconic, in my opinion, than Batman. And James Bond is much like Batman. There's a generational thing there, right? Like you remember based on when you were exposed to James Bond, who played the actor of that various generation.
Yeah.
Similar to the Batman series or however you want to.
If somebody continued the Ian Fleming book series... Because a lot of those, and they're not even based on books anymore. I mean, some of them have, and they pull from them. But that's where the James Bond character came from. If somebody continued that, then I think you'd have a case. But Batman's been going since the 40s, man. Like, Batman's been going strong for 80 years.
I'm sorry. I did not realize I was sitting amongst big Batman. I did not realize that you were like king or president of the big Batman fan club. This is news to me.
No,
I mean,
is Batman fantastic? Yeah, Batman's fantastic. I think you're
fine.
You're
He's
just
fine.
Batman ignorant.
I don't think I'm Batman ignorant. I think I am.
You're a Batman hater.
You're anti-Bantite. Anti-Bantite. There we go.
I am anti-bats, that's for sure. I mean, I don't know if you're going to find people out there.
So is Batman.
Yes, that's true.
You're anti-solving crime, things of that nature.
Do you think this is a slippery slope then? Do you think this opens them up to putting more and more fictional, iconic characters on? What about the entire Godfather franchise? No. What about, I mean, there have got to be characters out there that I read off a bunch of them that people find to be iconic.
Sure, but again, they don't have the longevity and the number of different mediums that Batman has. Again, I think Batman...
Harry Potter.
No.
Well, for an entire generation, Harry Potter
there's 8 Harry Potter books. That's it. That's the list. Boom. That's it.
The fact that you know that off the top of your head is like nerd alert. Like there's a nerd alert thing happening
I haven't read a single one of those books, but there's 8 Harry Potter books.
Hannibal Lecter.
No.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
No.
I'm running out of people on the
list. Had I thought about the Hollywood Walk of Fame one time other than like when the dude did it in his sweater, I think it'd be a slippery slope.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Dude did it in his
Jeff
sweater.
Bridges from what's the movie?
Big Lebowski?
From Big Lebowski.
But there we go. And him and Walter Sobchak were like talking in character as they were receiving it. Had I thought about it any other time in the past 2 decades, I think it would, like, if you would have told me they stopped doing Hollywood Walk of Fame, I would have told you, yeah, that sounds about right.
Probably ran out of space.
Yeah. How long can this walk be? My legs are getting tired.
It's very long. I mean, it might be miles and miles. I haven't looked at how long it is, but
it has to be at this point.
Let's just, from a principle standpoint, guys, are we okay with this sort of walkable museum that people buy their way into? Like, is that a little? Isn't that a little weird? Like, hey, I'd like to be a part of the Wisconsin Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Here's my $75,000. Put me in.
I fear you would probably be able to do that.
Yeah, somebody out there going, 75K? Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that if, again, you probably have to keep it a little quiet, but would an association be willing to accept your money in order to give you a spot in their Hall of Fame? Yes. Well, I believe that is possible.
I think everybody knows the keeping it quiet part would be the part that really evades me. We got to take a break here on Jen Gave It To Me. I can't believe I stepped into the Batman fan club here. Again, I had no idea. I was not prepared for that.
I was with you until you told me, like, oh, they've done this with other characters. Like, Batman being the first wouldn't have made sense. But if Mickey and Minnie are in characters like that are already in there, it makes all the sense in the world for Batman to be there.
What about Barbie?
If she's not there, she should probably be, but it's
Fictional
a little bit
character,
different.
Influential, iconic.
Yeah, but she's not, I mean, outside of Barbie the movie, which just recently came out. Like,
there has to have been Barbie TV shows, but I do not know their success.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Barbie is.
Barbie started out as a toy.
Yeah.
In the 1950s.
Correct.
We're talking about like generations and generations of people.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think it's a toy, whereas and she eventually grew that empire, but she doesn't have a base in Hollywood. You know, like that's not the beginning. She doesn't have this big fictional story that everybody knows.
Did we figure out if Bugs Bunny was on the list or not?
I believe so, yes.
Makes sense.
Captain America?
No, he wouldn't be on there.
Why?
Because he's not Batman is the GOAT superhero.
Can you set aside your obvious Batman bias for one moment?
But here's the thing, Jen. Like I'm not the one telling you this. I'm not yes, I'm the one breaking the news. But how many Captain America movies are there? Couple? How many people have played Captain America? One? How many people?
Name me a single one.
Really, Chris Evans?
What am I watching baby movies for?
That's a whole nother take we could get into.
You listed off all the actors who have played Batman, all the different iterations of Batman. Like, that's why he's up there. Batman is the GOAT. The reason why they keep rebooting Batman is because people continue to show up for it.
Okay, Charlie Brown. Does Charlie Brown deserve a spot on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Yes.
I would imagine the author of Charlie Brown probably is already on there in some form. And,
Charles Schultz.
Yeah, I want to be clear here. I'm like Batman agnostic, But the disrespect is crazy. I didn't have a big Batman opinion before 10 minutes ago, but you're counting him out like he's some schlub.
He feels a little schlubby. There's a little
He's got
schlub.
like 100 years of like dominating that whole world.
Yeah.
Didn't the Joker get the best of him, really, if we really think about it?
No. That's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah, it's the whole point of superhero movies.
All right. I guess I'm going to take the L here on this one. 800-990-3776. Batman is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He is the first superhero to do so. I cannot believe that the first superhero on the Hollywood Walk of Fame isn't Superman. But I digress and have for the last 18 minutes. We got to get to Jason Wilde to talk about those Green Bay Packers. Will Jordan Love be under center this weekend when they host the Minnesota Vikings? We'll check.
Relive the greatest Bucs postseason run in Bucs history with the Bucs in 6 podcast. Bucs in 6 presents a special series commemorating the Bucs title run in 2021. From the thrilling 7-game series against the Nets to the 50-piece from Giannis to cap it off in the finals, immerse yourself in the sounds of each playoff round. Bucs in 6 on the Bucs Plus audio network. Find it now, bucs.com/plus, the Bucs app, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Bit of a backup right now along eastbound 94 from Barker Road to Brookfield Road. Then you're back on the brakes from 92nd Street to 35th. Westbound's just a little bit tight right through the stadium interchange itself. Northbound on the Rock Freeway slowing down from Highway 100 into the Hale interchange. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, sunny with a high of 75 at the lake, 78 inland. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 60 at the lake, 53 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
We all know breakfast is an important part of your day. But sometimes when you're traveling for business, you end up staying at a hotel that doesn't offer any. You know what happens? You grab a cup of coffee and skip the meal entirely. We've all been there. But if you book a room at La Quinta by Wyndham, you can enjoy their free Bright Side breakfast featuring delicious baked goods, fruit, eggs, yogurt, and waffles. And really, who doesn't want to start their day with a fresh, hot waffle? Tonight, La Quinta, tomorrow you shine. Book direct at lq.com.
Well, here we are again, and I got to tell you, Jim, this match has me really concerned.
Here we have a powerful heavyweight, a train, weighing in at 6,000 tons. And this hasty lightweight challenger, a car, at just 1.5 tons?
This does not bode well for the car, or the people in it.
It's no contest. Every day, people are injured or killed trying to beat a train at rail crossings. See tracks, think train.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
Hey Milwaukee sports fans, it's Brad Nortman from Kyle Bruston Nortman. You've invested too much into that nice ride, so don't settle for a gas station car wash. Treat it to a Tsunami Express car wash. State-of-the-art wash technology, powerful free vacuums, and unlimited wash memberships. Now with 5 locations across greater Milwaukee, Tsunami Express is your go-to spot for a flawless finish and a first-class car wash every time. Trust me, your car will thank you. Sign up for a membership online at TsunamiExpress.com and get your first wash free. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat.
Ready, down, put. All Packers, all the time.
He was a field tilting player, and the reason why Gabe and many others are so concerned is that This guy's on the field. He changes the offensive dynamic. They are a different offense when he is there.
Okay, most of the time.
You know, Homer calls Matt LaFleur soft all the time. Matt LaFleur is like Vince Lombardi compared to me.
It's Jason Wilde on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jason Wilde joining us this morning to talk about the green and gold. Good morning, Jason. How are you today?
Well, that's not what I want to talk about.
Oh, great. Here we go. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
If you have the opportunity, I don't know where you need to find it on ESPN Plus, but check out the E60 28 outs. I'm sure you discussed it at the time, but I wasn't listening that day. And this is the great thing about television. If you use your television like I do, which is like a 73-year-old man, which is flipping through channels on cable and then stopping and finding something that piques your interest. Because everyone streams everything now, the kids these days, and you never stumble upon anything that's really, really good. But the 28 outs piece that you did about the Jim Joyce umpiring gaffe on the final out of a perfect game was fantastic. And I would have never seen it because I didn't realize you had done it. And if I hadn't just been scrolling through channels and come across it, we'd have never known. So take a little time once in a while when with your Disney Plus and your Netflix and all these other streaming services to go through your, I mean, if you still have cable, maybe you cut the cord. But if you have that ability, I highly recommend doing it because you stumble onto stuff that's pretty darn cool. And that was really well done. So bravo to you.
ESPN Plus, just Google 28 outs if you haven't seen it.
Yes, I really appreciate that. That was a lot of work. It was a year plus in the making. We did 40 plus interviews for the piece, and I really appreciate you watching it and endorsing it. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now what?
Jason, he's starting, right? He's starting on Sunday?
And he's not talking about Batman, just so you know.
Not talking about Batman, not talking about Galarraga, not talking about Jim Joyce. I'm talking about Jordan Love.
Yeah, the way I described it in my story this morning in the State Journal was the last time we talked to Jordan was last Wednesday, and he sounded like a guy trying to convince us there was a chance he might play. And I didn't think he sold the bluff very well. Yesterday, he sounded like a guy trying to convince us that there was still a chance he wouldn't play. And he didn't sell that very well either.
Why do they play this game, Jason? I don't understand at this point.
I think in this case, I will say this is way more legit. I mean, it was my favorite moment was when I told him, hey, Matt wouldn't say last week if you took team reps. I asked him on Monday, and he said you did. And I said, were those first team reps or scout team reps? And Love got this huge smile and said, team reps, kind of like limited. So he was never playing last week, ever. Like the fact that after the fact, LaFleur admitted that the workout was after they had decided that he wasn't playing, which that is not a new concept. Like
no.
McCarthy used to do that all the time with guys, but they no doubt they played the subterfuge game. I didn't think they played it very well personally, but that's fine. Now, I do think that there is this week, it's not, I think it's more CYA than it is, I might not be playing. You better get ready for Malik Willis. I don't think it's that. I think it's, they are at least trying to be prepared if for some reason, he goes out there today and it just feels wonky or he gets really bad swelling or whatever it might be, and there's some sort of setback. I don't think it's for show. I think it's more, hey, there's no guarantee that his knee's going to respond to 3 days of work in a way that allows him to still play on Sunday. So I think there's a little bit different motivation for him, not flat out saying, like Tom Silverstein from the Journal-Sentinel, to his credit, the first question out of the chute at Love's locker was not really a question. It was a command. Just tell us you're playing. That's what Spoon said. And am I playing? Day to day, we'll see. But it kind of set the tone of we know the game you're playing, but we also know that this was the game that you and the folks around you had been targeting from the very beginning.
Let me ask you this, Jason, because this all to me trickles down from Matt LaFleur. Is he just paranoid? Does he just not trust that he is better at his job than the guy on the other side of the field? Or is it just a reflection of the NFL and the margin of victory being so razor thin that you have to seize any advantage, even if it seems smoke and mirrors at this point?
Well, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean there's not somebody after you, of course.
Sounds like something Batman would say, just so you know.
I was thinking more a villain. I think it's all those things, right? But again, and I don't want to revisit this, just like I clearly don't want to revisit this Batman conversation. At some point, they are going to have to become more transparent about this, because they've let the fox of betting into the henhouse. And this is going to become increasingly problematic because people are legally and with a partnership with the league wagering sums of money on things that are going to occur in the games and that are dependent on players' availability. Remember, the NFL started having the injury report in the first place because of betting. It was illegal betting, or I guess legal in Vegas betting, but that was what prompted injury reports to begin with. And so I just playing these kind of word games with it, and they let the 49ers off the hook, even though they clearly were being dishonest about Christian McCaffrey, who then wound up traveling to Germany for more treatment. So, I don't know where this is going to land eventually, but I firmly believe that this cat and mouse game, for whatever reason coaches like to play it, they're going to put a stop to it.
What is the biggest thing the Packers should be worried about against the Vikings?
A pass rush that leads the league in sacks versus a quarterback that will not be as mobile as he would be if he was 100% healthy. I just, and look, everyone's giving Brian Flores all these bouquets, and rightfully so. Like, they do have a good defense. I'm not saying they don't. But there are still, the Packers lit them up pretty good in the New Year's Eve game in Minneapolis. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen on Sunday. What I am saying is every defense has holes, and we were talking yesterday, and LaFleur and Love were making it sound like these were the 85 Bears. They're doing their Lou Holtz. But these guys are 3-0. Like, they're legit. I'm not saying they're not. My point is, though, is that if there was one thing that I'd be worried about, it's that my quarterback is going to have limited mobility. No matter how hard he worked out before the game in Nashville, no matter how much work he does this week, he is not going to be able to move the same way that he did going into Brazil, and he hadn't suffered any injuries, right? So to me, that's the big challenge is, those guys up front have to block it up and be able to handle all the crazy things that a Brian Flores defense does to confuse you. And they're going to have to keep their guy safe, because I don't care what you say. I know, I talked to a few offensive linemen yesterday, and the party line, of course, is, hey, we protect the same no matter who's back there. right? It's our job to keep him clean and keep him safe. Well, that's true, but I'm sorry, I don't believe you if one guy is 100% healthy, like he was for the opener, and now that same guy who is better than the guy that went 2-0 that we all think is an amazing story, but if he's not going to be able to move the way he normally would, you can't tell me as an offensive lineman you don't feel some measure of, all right, I got to do I always try to do my best, but I really have to be on my game to keep this guy safe.
Yeah, the Vikings have the most sacks amongst all teams, but the good news is the Packers are a top 6 offensive line, and an offensive line is tough to rank. You can do it by individual position. You can do it by interior units. You can do it by the whole unit. But Sharp Football Analysis has the Packers as the 6th best offensive line through the first 3 games of the season. So maybe that offers a little bit of optimism for that unit going against a tough pass rush.
Maybe it's enough to get him a spot on the Walk of Fame.
See, now we're back. Look at that. We're back.
Jason, Batman's the GOAT, right?
Oh,
he's the GOAT.
Love of God.
He is. I think I don't want to speak for the people that put together those sidewalks, but the problematic aspect of it, I don't know about other superheroes. That's not really my genre. But has there been any fictional character who has been played by more people than Batman?
James Bond? Well, no, James Bond is only like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, especially when you start factoring in the voice actors, like I don't think that anybody has been portrayed more than Batman.
Clooney, Val Kilmer.
Keaton,
I mean, you go, yeah, exactly.
West, Pattinson,
Clooney.
Affleck,
Everybody
Bale.
forgets about Clooney.
It's because
that's the first one I said.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, and he did go, I believe, on Letterman once and was asked, "Oh, are you familiar with Arnold Schwarzenegger?" And he goes, "Yeah, we tried to kill the Batman series together."
That's true. There were some bad Batmans and bad villains, and at one point wasn't Uma Thurman a villain? Poison Ivy or something. There were very bad.
That was in the
villains.
Val Kilmer one, I believe.
Jason, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Of course, we will be monitoring social media to see, hopefully, and to your point about the betting, it hasn't changed. Joshy and I discussed this last night on Weekly Wager, our show at Potawatomi Sportsbook. We anticipate that the line, which is 2.5 right now in favor of the Packers, will change once we know who the quarterback is. And that information may come out, whatever, right before the game, or it may leak out, tomorrow or today. But we anticipate that line will change with that information.
Go see Just a Bit Outside in theaters and go find 28 Outs on NFL on ESPN+.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate you. Jackie weighing in the 414 saying, Batman sucks. The only reason he's relevant is because the villains he faced were top tier. Subpar superhero.
It's okay to be wrong.
I'm just saying, I'm not the only one who thinks that Batman sucks. He went a little hard to the hole, but I'm right there with him. We got to take a break here on Jen, Game, and Chewy. Got a lot of people yelling at me. A lot of people who are like, this conversation is ridiculous. Batman is the GOAT. I had no idea there were so many Batman stans out there. But we will talk a little Green Bay Packers when we get back on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Delays starting to kick in a bit on eastbound 94 from Highway F all the way to Brookfield Road, and then again from the Zoo all the way to 35th Street. The westbound side, heavy from 25th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard, and southbound 43 starting to get a bit heavy from before Hampton Avenue down to Capitol Drive. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today, sunny skies with a high of 75 at the lake, 78 inland. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 60 at the lake, 53 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
Change your grocery game plan to locally owned Century Foods, home of the best meat, freshest produce, and tastiest treats.
Now through Wednesday, save on 15 to 30 ounce selected varieties Hellman's mayonnaise, $5.49. 7 to 16 ounce selected varieties Barilla pasta, 2 for $3. 128 ounce selected varieties Kemp's Pale, $6.99. 1 pound selected varieties Land O'Lakes butter, $4.99.
I am starving. Oh no, never walk into a Century when you're hungry. Unless it's free sample day. Ooh. Oh, pizza, yes. I'd love to try that one.
My husband thinks he can make a meal out of grocery store samples.
Need to wash this down. I think I see someone handing out samples in the liquor department.
Geez, can we focus on our list?
What's this?
It says you can win 2 tickets to Green Bay's home game against San Francisco November 24th.
Or autographed footballs, or a 4-pack of Green Bay Hall of Fame tickets.
You have to enter through Century's Facebook or Instagram.
I'll be entering this on my phone in the deli next to that cheese sample station.
I'm shopping at Century alone next time.
Enter by November 6th.
Hey, this is Brad Nortman from ESPN Wisconsin's Kyle Brust and Nortman. I love this time of year. Playoff baseball, the start of hoop season, and of course, football. I'm all about watching the action on the gridiron with a carbless in my hand. Premium, ready-to-drink cocktails with no malt, no carbs, and no sugar. Vodka cocktail flavors like cranberry, black raspberry, and lemon lime, and classic cocktail flavors like Paloma or Margarita. Find Carbless at your local grocer and enjoy game day. Carbless. Less is more.
Ticket King has you covered for the green and gold this football season. With offices in Milwaukee and Green Bay, Ticket King is your local and most trusted source to buy or sell Green Bay tickets. You'll feel good about getting the best value and service when you work with the Ticket King. Guaranteed. Experience the thrill of Green Bay football by visiting theticketking.com or call 414-273-6007. It's not sold out until the King is sold out. Reach out for available tickets for Sunday's big matchup with Minnesota. Theticketking.com.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Are you looking for a reliable ride? I've got you covered. It's ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta. I use AccuTrans Group for my private transportation needs during the college football season. AccuTrans is a veteran-owned business dedicated to providing unmatched corporate, personal, and event-related transportation that you will use again and again. From corporate travel and weddings to group events, AccuTrans Group caters to every occasion. Booking is easy, safe, and dependable. Visit AccuTransGroup.com to get a quote or to book a reservation today for reliable and safe transportation.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Any of those things because it's like I'm sorry, I'm burping up my apple right there. That's what that was. I wasn't pausing for effect. I literally was burping
All right, can we just go to break?
No.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Dreaming of a new home before summer ends? Great Midwest Bank has the perfect mortgage loan for you. Let's make your dream a reality. Their loan officers work to provide a personalized and secure banking experience for their customers, and they feel like friendly neighbors because, well, they are. They always take the time to truly understand your situation and find the right type of loan for your needs. Head over to your neighborhood Great Midwest Bank, simply local since 1935. So it was a topic of conversation yesterday at 12:65. How are the Green Bay Packers going to handle the defense? Now, I think a really good point that Joshy has brought up, that other people have brought up, is the last time the Green Bay Packers faced Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, they did pretty well. It was a pretty good outing by the Green Bay Packers offense versus that defense. It does seem like the 3-0 start is sort of pouring into the heightened concern about what the Vikings can do when they come to Lambeau Field this weekend. But let's hear from Matt LaFleur yesterday talking about the importance of the Packers quarterback to be mobile against that defense.
8 sacks you guys had. The Vikings have 16 on the season. They're leading the league. How is Jordan's ability to move in and out of the pocket going to be even more important if he's able to go against a group like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a concern. So we got to do a great job in terms of our protection calls, making sure that we get body on a body, and then you got to go and actually block these guys, which isn't the easiest task to do either. So I think they got a lot of good rushers in there. I think they rush collectively as a unit, as one, as good as anybody. I mean, their pick games that they're running, it causes a lot of carnage on the offensive line at times, and they've also done a great job. It shows up all over the tape, just getting free runners at the quarterback and sacking the quarterback.
Minnesota on pace to break the all-time team record for sacks in a season by a team set by the Vikings back in 1989. That according to StatMuse. Gabe, are you concerned at all about this pass rush giving Jordan Love fits and potentially, again, coming off an injury, getting him hurt again?
I guess I'm not really concerned if he's ready, to go out there and play. Yeah, I'm concerned about the pass rush, but I'm concerned about the pass rush whoever is out there because that's how good it's been for the Vikings the first handful of weeks. Yes, it would be nice if Jordan was completely healthy and completely mobile when he's out there, but this Vikings defense also, according to Pro Football Focus, has the best rush grade in terms of stopping the run. So it's going to be tough for the Packers to run the football. Let's say for whatever reason, Jordan Love's knee doesn't react the way they want after today or tomorrow, 3 days of work, and they decided to be cautious and hold him out. Running the game plans that they've had with Malik Willis, he needs to be able to throw the ball more, and then throwing the ball more against more pressure, that becomes tough. If you're not able to effectively run the ball, you got to be able to throw it. And the best chance the Packers have clearly of that is Jordan Love. Yeah, you have to be able to try to take advantage of what the Vikings have on the outside. Their front seven's played really, really well, and that's kind of helped them out on the back end. But you need to be able to put the ball in the air. You need to be able to do it efficiently, and nobody's really been able to do that. And it's not like they're playing bad teams. They played the Niners. They played the Houston Texans, and that's why I think it's got everybody's attention. It's not like they just went out there and beat up on the Carolina Panthers and then they were able to beat up on the Las Vegas Raiders. These are two teams that have high expectations in the Niners and Texans that their defense had their way with.
So one of the things we have talked about, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, was the tight end position and how it's in a weird space in 2024. How do you envision the Packers using the tight end in Sunday's game? Is there a part of you that thinks that then they will be required to offer extra protection at the end of the line in order just to, maybe even especially at the beginning of the game, which means you're sort of taking a weapon off the field, but you are giving Jordan that confidence to kind of grow in his first game back off of injury and feel a little bit more comfortable in the pocket?
I think early you want that extra protection for the tight end, whether it's just staying and chipping and then getting out. But if the Vikings are bringing pressure, you got to get the ball out of your hands quickly. That's how you're going to be able to beat the blitz. And then maybe they start backing off and you can incorporate Tucker Kraft more as the game moves along. But especially early, because, there have been times where, the offensive line's held up, but there's still been times where, the guys that you're expecting. Rasheed Walker's got a handful of holding penalties. Sean Ryan at right guard. You feel really good about Zach Tom. You feel really good about Elton Jenkins. But the Vikings are going to pick on the weak spots. And you have to be able to get the ball out of your hands quickly, maybe to get Flores to back off a little bit. And then you can kind of operate as you normally would.
So what would your game plan be early on? Is it to, we had talked about obviously Malik Willis, and we have talked about when they faced tough run defenses and how he was going to have to stretch the field. And that's what they did in the last game, right? They go out there on the first series of the game, and you're seeing Malik Willis say, I can throw. Look at me throw on the left side of the field with Jordan Love in there. Based on what we know about the Vikings, based on what we know about his potential limitations coming off the injury, what would your game plan be early to get this thing rolling?
Jayden Reed. Work him, try to get your favorable matchups on the inside of the field, try to get the ball to Jayden Reed early. I think he's your biggest difference maker, at least so far, on the outside. And I think that if you can kind of manipulate, get him on the field, try to, use the motions, whatever you want to either A, have the defense tip their hand, or B, get him in a spot where he can get some leverage on a defender. I think Jayden Reed getting the ball in his hands quickly is going to be a huge thing for the Packers to kind of, alleviate the pass rush.
So if I pose the question to you, who will be the biggest determining factor other than Love to the Packers' success on Sunday? Are you willing to give Jayden Reed that distinction right now?
Offensively, yes. I will say
defensively, you got a guy?
It's easy to say McKinney, but I think they have to turn that around.
I think it has to be up front.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they have to turn it around, and they have to get pressure on Sam Darnold as well, or have to do better against the run.
I saw a metric that says that their interior offensive line has not been good, ranking close to last in each of their respective categories through 3 games this season. Josh, same question to you, and you can go offensive, defensive if you like. Who's the biggest determining factor other than Jordan Love to the Packers' success on Sunday?
If I have to pick a player, I'm going to pick Josh Jacobs because I think if you can continue to run, you can put them in a bad spot. I think this run game, as we've seen it so far, with all the multiple ways they can attack a defense, is going to be a giant factor to kind of make them call off the dogs. But I think more important than anyone is, once again, Matt LaFleur and his game plan. Everyone's talking about the unique looks that Brian Flores is giving everybody that's confusing quarterbacks, making it difficult. I think if you do a lot of shifting and a lot of motion, you're going to force them to show their hand more than they want to. You can see some screenshots where Brian Flores is like every single guy on the line of scrimmage or like no deeper than 5 yards. Like if you're moving guys around, they're going to have to kind of bail out and show. So I think
because they're out of position, they have to get into position.
Right. And once they're moving, then now they're even more uncomfortable than they are where they are. So I think it's Matt LaFleur is the biggest factor because he's changed 2 games for the Packers. He's been the biggest factor, but I still think the run game has to be a factor for them.
Because that's going to, again, it all ends up working together, but the Vikings have been able to get away with what they've been getting away with because of that pass rush, right? The quarterback needs a little bit extra time. Okay, what are they in? Okay, now I need to go to shoot. Now I've got Andrew Van Ginkel in my lap.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see what the highest pre-snap motion rate is and where the Packers rank
Packers
on
are the
that.
first.
Really?
Lead the league. They unseated Mike McDaniel.
I had no idea.
It's like
Is that a next-gen stat? Can I pull that up somewhere to see that list?
It is. If you look in our share sheet, I believe I put it in there. Someone did all the numbers on it. I expect that number to drop a tiny bit because they were motioning. I think they motioned every single run play except for 2 games ago. I think obviously they're using that to their advantage with Malik Willis, but clearly there's something working there, and I don't expect them to stray too far from it. They're not
going to stray too far from it from Matt LaFleur in general.
Well, and they're not going to, and this is not the week to do it, right?
No.
Even if they do stray from it and try to be a little bit more unpredictable, this is not the week to do it. You were referencing Flores and the way that he pre-snap, post-snap.
Mm-hmm.
There have been times where there have been 8 guys. It looks like they're rushing 8, and then all of a sudden they only rush 3. 5 of them drop back into coverage. So they're trying, obviously, to keep you on your heels. They're trying to make him uncomfortable, obviously, in the pocket. 800-990-3776. Who will be the biggest determining factor, other than Jordan Love, to the Packers' success on Sunday? I still think, again, you mentioned it, getting pressure on that offensive line. Because they have been vulnerable, because they have been likely to make mistakes, to give up pressures, I think that's where they need to make the most hay. And then, of course, you force Sam Darnold into some mistakes. He has been really, really good, obviously, early on. But if you can force him into some mistakes, maybe regress to the mean a little bit, I think that puts you in a really good position. 800-990-3776, Gabe.
To that point, so the Vikings on Pro Football Focus are the 23rd ranked pass block offensive line.
Yep. But, I know.
Second in run
I
game.
know. Yep.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's got Aaron Jones' revenge game written all over it, and I don't like it, Jen.
We are going to talk about Aaron Jones. He is on our list. We will talk about him as the show rolls on here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. If you love sports betting, you got to make your way to the Sportsbook at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. It has everything a sports fanatic could want and more. And as for the big game that we have been talking about, guys, the line hasn't changed. Still 2.5. Packers are favored. I still anticipate that line changing as the week goes on if we find who will be under center. But you can get the ultimate experience with dozens of self-service betting kiosks, seating for more than 200 people, a broadcast booth, a first-class bar, and their new restaurant, The Kitchen. They also have a VIP deck, which is where we do the show, The Weekly Wager, each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. It's a new era of sports betting at Potawatomi. Get in on the action.
Never miss out on a second of the show. Find Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. Sponsored by Celsius Essential Energy Drink.
The Jen, Gabe, and Chewy podcast is sponsored by Celsius Energy Drink, and I am here to tell you it makes a huge difference in my mornings. With a unique blend of essential energy and key vitamins, Celsius is your partner to an active lifestyle. My favorite, the Peach Vibe. Learn more at Celsius.com and pick up Celsius Energy Drinks today.
Your chances are running out to enjoy the outdoors before winter comes. This is the time to be active. Use your body's own healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real, lasting pain relief. Hey, it's ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. I'm talking about advanced regenerative medicine. Tired of arthritic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back? Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing the stuff you love without pain and without drugs or surgery or downtime. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. They are led by National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, renowned in cellular research. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough using cellular therapies. They've got tens of thousands of satisfied patients, and the consultation is totally free. Call now to get lasting joint pain relief with the help from QC Kinetics. This is the future of medicine. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
Lock in for October. Brewers postseason tickets are on sale now. Clear your schedule, claim your spot, and be here for a Brewers postseason run you don't want to miss at brewers.com/postseason.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
At GNC, we know motivation can come from anywhere. You could be at the gym, totally focused on yourself and your own goals. You refuse to be gym-intimidated. Maybe you're on a weight loss journey, a new path to change your life. Nothing's gonna stop you. Or maybe you're putting in overtime on those booty goals. No shame in getting those gains round back. You could just be out to prove that when it comes to pickleball, you are a pickle baller. No matter what motivates you, we have the fuel to keep you going. Fuel your fitness at GNC.
At the Home Depot, we know you can't control everything, like when your guests arrive too early for Saturday college football. But you can control your grill. With the Traeger Timberline XL, you can watch the game, not the grill. Monitor your football feast from anywhere using the Traeger app. With the Timberline XL, you can bake, smoke, sear, fry, and saute. That's Desmond Howard level versatility.
Huddle up, the food's done.
Defend your game time with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check that your guests like spicy first before serving atomic hot wings.
Who's hungry?
Oh my gosh. What are these?
You don't like them? Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Water.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Care. You can just save yourself so much time by going, okay, we like this guy, this guy, this guy. Let's take a look at all the different things he did at the combine. I just hit my phone, and now my hand is just tingling.
No,
What's
your
with you
hand
two
is
today?
no.
Jesus. Do you know how to function?
I just like...
On 94.5 ESPN.
Football season is back, and I am excited to be back on campus with Celsius Energy Drink, which fuels my active lifestyle, just like Travis Hunter, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel, and more. Explore all 27 refreshing flavors, sparkling or non-carbonated. There is a Celsius for every taste on game day. Stay active and energized all day long with Celsius by your side. Celsius, live fit. Reaction rolling in. Justin in Middleton saying, I think Jair Alexander will shut down Justin Jefferson. That will be a key to a Packers victory.
I mean, it is advantageous for the Packers that the Vikings are a little beat up on the outside. Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, so that certainly helps. And they can focus more of their attention on Justin Jefferson. That's very helpful.
How confident are you? We discussed this briefly last night on the Weekly Wager as we were discussing, potential prop bets and whatnot. How confident are you in Jair being able to shut down Justin Jefferson? Would you have him covering him man-to-man throughout most of the game? And all I said to the guys was, there's still a video rolling through my brain of Jair Alexander getting absolutely toasted by A.J. Brown week 1.
Sure. There should also be a video of him holding Justin Jefferson to the worst game he's ever had in the NFL. That should probably exist in there, too. I understand that was a couple of weeks ago, but it's a lot better than... I would feel better shadowing Justin Jefferson, especially if Addison doesn't play with Jair, than going, yeah, Eric Stokes, best of luck to you, kid. Doesn't seem like a great alternative to me.
Justin weighing in saying Kenny and Wyatt game, they have to get pressure up the middle. We are in lockstep on that.
It's to me, for them, more important is the run game. If the Packers shut down Aaron Jones, I think they win the game. But if Aaron Jones goes off for 100 yards, it's going to be tough. Because then Minnesota's going to be able to get into everything they want to do.
Have you been confident in what they've been able to do from a run defense standpoint? It was somewhat rhetorical, but you didn't even let me finish.
Not even a little bit. Because the two good running backs that they've faced, like Saquon had a great game, and JT ended up having kind of like a quiet game because
they chose not to run him for some reason in the second half.
Yeah, he had 13 carries for over 100 yards, so they decided to let Richardson throw. And yeah, they had success against Tony Pollard last week, but the two really good backs that they faced, they haven't been able to bottle it up. So hopefully they can come up with a good game plan for that.
Jamie in Orlando saying the difference is Flores has adjusted the defense from where the Packers were when they played them last year. They were leaving gaps in the middle. He's adjusted where that's not been a problem so far this season. Yes, of course, we expect that there should be adjustments, right? If you're decent at all at your job, there would be adjustments. But we also think the Packers will adjust to the adjustments, right? The Packers are making adjustments as well. And that is what I always find so fascinating about the NFL season is how much do you show early on? Which, again, Matt LaFleur and company were in a very unique situation where they kind of had to throw the playbook away, go back to the drawing board in order to put Malik Willis in a position to succeed. But I'm always fascinated by what do you show? How much do you play? Put you of your playbook, you know what I mean? And so I think with a division game this early in the season, you really have to put everything out there.
Well, I think you put out everything. I mean, you're adding things as the season goes. And I know Chewy's talked about this where, coaches are watching film of somebody else and going, ooh, I like that play. And you're not necessarily going to put it in, the very next week because everybody else sees the same thing. But maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road, maybe that's when you add that play in.
We got to take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Lots to get to in the second hour of the show. How much have you been paying attention to this NIL scandal out at UNLV? Plus, Aaron Jones. We love him, but we don't want him to go off this weekend, right? We are all in agreement. No Aaron Jones big game. We'll discuss right after this.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Got a problem here on 4394 northbound, right about at Beecher Street. We've got the center lane blocked with a crash, so delays all the way back to the Plainfield curve. Westbound on 94, we've got delays from about 25th Street all the way through the stadium interchange. The eastbound side is a broken down vehicle on the right shoulder right about at Hawley Road, but what's really causing problems is the sun glare. We've got backups basically from 84th Street all the way through to 35th. Southbound 43 heavy from Silver Spring all the way down to Capitol Drive. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast today. Sunny with a high of 75 at the lakefront, 78 inland. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 60 at the lakefront, 53 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Hey, this is Ben Brust from Kyle Brust and Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin. People can't stop screaming about the Screamin' Sicilian frozen pizza, and no wonder. There's plenty to scream about, like the buttery stone-fired crust, secret recipe tomato sauce, mounds of whole milk mozzarella, and tons of premium toppings. Find Screamin' Sicilian in your local grocer's freezer and find out for yourself why Sporked called Screamin' Sicilian's Holy Pepperoni frozen pizza the best of the best. Screamin' Sicilian, taste what all the screamin' is about.
Hey you, daydreaming about that perfect house again? Hi, it's John Reeds from Great Midwest Bank, and whether your dream includes buying or building or renovating your current home, I'm happy to report that mortgage rates are finally starting to turn around. So make those dreams a reality with a custom-fit Great Midwest Bank mortgage product. We've been serving Southeast Wisconsin homeowners for nearly 90 years. Find a local experienced loan officer at greatmidwestbank.com. We can't wait to get started. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. You're listening to ESPN Milwaukee 94.5 WKTI HD.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
In true Chewy fashion, right before we turn on our microphones, because when it comes to working out, how long can I wear these shorts before I have to wash them?
What, do you smell something?
Do I smell something? What am I, hard of smelling? Of course I smell something.
What is it?
Wear it once, wear it twice, wear it 3 times. And when... What prompted the question to myself?
You start to smell them a little bit?
Not smell, they're a little dirty.
What do you mean by dirty?
It's B.O. The valet must have had B.O.
Can't be. Nobody has B.O. like this.
Jerry, it's B.O.
But the whole car smells.
Like some sweat stains or other types of stains?
I don't know what that is.
Because the other type of stains, probably, throw them in there.
Well, that's only with the whites. The whites are definitely 2. And you have to look at the backside to be like, all right, yeah.
So when somebody has B.O., the O usually stays with the B. Once the B leaves, the O goes with it.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride and she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth. Talk about it.
If you haven't gotten a chance to check out the Players Tribune and the column that Vikings running back Aaron Jones, former Green Bay Packers, wrote about his time in Green Bay, I highly recommend. Go find it on social media. Go find it on the Players Tribune site. Read through it. And I really, really, really appreciated the sentiment that Aaron Jones put in there. He talked about how when his father passed away, Green Bay kind of wrapped its arms around him, right? He was going through something incredibly difficult shortly after he had signed the big deal in Green Bay, right? Mm-hmm. So the highest of highs and the lowest of lows right next to each other in his life, and how Green Bay and members of the Green Bay staff attended the funeral, and that really showed him that he was a valued member of the organization. Now, you could make the argument that when they went back to the negotiating table, Gabe, and he was asking for a certain amount of money and they said no, that maybe he didn't feel as appreciated as wrapping their arms around him. But he is now a member of the Minnesota Vikings, was able to get more money from the Vikings, and he has been pretty successful in that offense early this year. I'm looking at a game-by-game game log for Aaron Jones. Rushing 102, rushing 32, not as good, rushing 94. But he also has been productive in the passing game for them.
Not shocking.
5 receptions, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 6 targets, 2 of 2, depending on the game that you're looking at. I like Aaron Jones. Mm-hmm. Does that mean I want Aaron Jones to have any modicum of success this weekend? No, I do not. Because I think, Gabe, he's one of these guys that when he gets rolling, he rolls. It's not like he's a flash in the pan kind of guy. I know you have talked about the inconsistency maybe from game to game, but I think pretty traditionally in a game, when he is used regularly, he has big numbers. He puts up big numbers.
Yeah, that is undeniable. Like, the big plays are always there for Aaron Jones. And like you said, I mean, he's somebody that's eventually going to come back here. I think he's going to end up in the Packers Hall of Fame. You know, he's eventually going to be welcomed back into the Packer family. There's a reason why he was seemingly every year the Packers Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. Like, he's a really good dude. Did a lot of great things for the community. I hope he has negative rushing yards on Sunday.
Does that make us bad people?
No.
Are we bad people?
No.
Are we good fans?
Yes. No, I'm not wishing ill will upon him. I'm not hoping he gets injured. I just hope he has a bad game.
So what is the number? And Joshy and I had a good chuckle yesterday. And there's nothing better than Joshy's chuckle, by the way, just side note. But we had a good chuckle yesterday when Chewy, who is on vacation now, for those of you who are asking where the big guy is, Chewy said he hopes Aaron Jones has 160 yards. We assume he means from scrimmage. We hope that that's just not on the ground.
I hope that's total yards, and that includes kickoff for your
very
yardage.
Bad day for the Packers' run defense. But he said he hopes he has 160 yards and the Packers win. And Joshy was very clear. Those two things are pretty mutually exclusive, right, Joshy? Like, if Aaron Jones goes for 160, $160, it'd be very hard for the Packers to find a way to win.
I don't know how many times in history a running back has had 160 or over and lost a game. I would gather it's very few because every time you're running the ball that much and you have the ability to traverse the entire field a time and more than a half alone, those usually mean wins. That's how the game works.
Yeah, I feel Jen's got a better chance of getting Superman on the Walk of Fame than the Packers would have winning the game if they give up 160 yards on the ground to Aaron Jones. That is my nightmare.
Feels personal.
160 yards on the ground for Aaron Jones.
So let's figure out a number that you can swallow. Let's figure out a number that is bearable, that is palatable. How many yards from scrimmage? So we're talking about total rushing, total receiving. Has he been even playing special teams? I feel like that would be negligent. Okay, thank you. You mentioned it, and I was like, did I miss Aaron Jones playing special teams?
I was just saying if he had 160, that's what the only way he can have 160 total yards is if he's returning kicks, and the Packers still win. That's the only way.
It appears there have been, it's about 4 times in the year that you go over 160 yards as a team and still lose. So one singular person, I'm still working on those stats, seems even less likely.
So what is the number of yards from scrimmage for Aaron Jones that you could swallow that means the Packers could still win the game, right? We are all laughing and saying 160 is too high. Likely the Vikings would walk out of Lambeau Field with a win in that scenario. What is the number that Aaron Jones could get and go, all right, good job. Like, good for you, but your team is walking out of here with a loss?
I feel it's got to be around 100. You start creeping up higher than that, and that means a lot of things are going well for Minnesota. I think it's got to be around 100. Like, if he ends up with 105, Packers can still win that game. He gets to 125? I don't know, Jim. Doesn't seem like if Aaron Jones has 125 yards from scrimmage, it just doesn't seem like the Packers are going to be able to play enough defense to slow down the Vikings. If he has 125, that means to me the Vikings offense is cooking.
Would it also mean to you that maybe, and I don't know if they're using him differently than the Packers were using him, but would it also mean that the Vikings had maybe jumped out to a big lead and then they were running the ball, kind of trying to salt away the win in the second half?
Yeah, or, I mean, again, because the Packers' run defense has been bad against good backs, they just had success early and they just kept going to it.
800-990-3776 reaction rolling in on this question. How many yards could Aaron Jones have from scrimmage? So we're talking about him in the passing game as well, and still have the Packers get a victory. John weighing in saying the number is 90. Dave from Aaron saying if we keep Jones under 90 yards, we will be in good shape.
Oh, yeah, 100%. If it's under 100, I feel really good. If it's under 100, I feel really good about the Packers' chances of winning the game because that means their defense figured some things out to slow him down running. Maybe he gets a couple of nice catches in the passing game, but to me, that means they can get to a point where maybe they're pinning their ears back and try to get after Sam Darnold.
Is there anything, though, of the explosive plays? And I know we have talked about how the Packers have been pretty good at the explosive plays, but could he get a couple of explosive plays, but they still kind of hold him? You know, where it ends up being chunk yardage, but they still hold him, relatively speaking. Like that, I guess I'm preparing myself for that likelihood. I am preparing myself for the likelihood that Aaron Jones breaks off a couple. Maybe he stays out of the end zone. Maybe he doesn't. But the Packers can still win if they're able to limit the number of explosive plays by Jones.
Limit it to one. He gets one. Because again, if he has 2, that means something else is going wrong. And if he has 2, he's probably going to have 3. It means he's probably going to have 4. Like if you can, one time somebody made a mistake, we can correct that mistake and figure it out as we go. But if he's getting multiple big splash plays, that means the Vikings have found something and are exploiting it, and the Packers can't figure it out.
Joshy, do you find yourself afraid of Aaron Jones a little bit? Are you finding yourself a little intimidated by what you think he might be able to do, or is this much ado about nothing?
I'm not terribly afraid of Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones is a weapon, and I think, but as Gabe has talked about, aside from the end of last season, Aaron Jones is known for the either-or situation. Mm-hmm. He had 102 rushing yards against the Texans and added 46 receiving yards to that. The game before, he had 9 total carries, 32 yards, and 5 catches for 36.
Now, against that San Francisco defense, though,
yes, correct. But, I mean, they clearly went away from it for a reason. And 3.6 yards per carry, you can live with that. You can do a lot with that.
But how do you feel about the 6.7 that he averaged against the Giants?
That makes you worry.
The 5.4 against Houston.
I'm going to make a bold claim here. I do think the Packers' defense is better than the Giants' defense.
Okay, all right.
So not
We're
very bold.
Page.
That's like a giant branch that you are stepping out on there. I feel pretty confident it's going to hold you.
What about the Texans' defense?
I think Packers and Texans can kind of be either or any given week. I think it's matchup dependent. Like what went wrong for the Texans was the Vikings jumped out to a giant lead, and then it was, we're just going to grind you out, and then they still couldn't stop them while they were grinding them out. Like, that's the situation, and I think that's some defenses can withstand that, but most modern, you have to have a lead. The Packers have to have a lead, and they can't let them kind of instill the game plan. The Vikings do that to them. You need to get out to a lead, or you need to keep it very close throughout the duration of the game.
Ian weighing in saying, I would like for Aaron Jones to have more than 58.5 yards. That's my prize pick to win. Ian, I appreciate somebody who is rooting for their wallet this weekend, a man after my own heart. Justin saying, I'm not worried.
It's only 58 points.
Look at you. You're like, hammer. Hammer.
Seems. Even in his bad game, he had over 58 yards from scrimmage.
Yeah.
Justin says, I'm not worried. Jones will fumble at the worst time for the Vikings. He's notorious for that in big games. Love you, guy, but the gloves are off. Worried at all, or not worried? I mean, we wouldn't be worried. We'd be thrilled. But if Aaron Jones, do you see him fumbling?
That'd be fantastic. I would be thrilled.
81 or less and no touchdowns. That from AC in Wauwatosa. No touchdowns.
Yeah, look, again, I think it's under the 100, because if he's getting up to the 100 mark, that means something is going well. I mean, as Josh, you pointed out, he had 68 in a bad game, and he only had 9 rushes against the 49ers. So, even if he has that bad game, they give him a couple more touches, he can get up around that 81 mark. Like, I feel like 80 to 90 is still a bad game for the Vikings and Aaron Jones. Get up over 100, then I start getting a little nervous.
Brandon weighing in saying, if Sam Darnold returns to his old self and is throwing interceptions, the Vikings will have to run the ball all game. Jones can have success and the Packers still win, especially if Jordan is back and playing well. I don't see Kevin O'Connell deviating too much. I think if Sam Darnold throws a pick, I don't think they're going to go to the ground and pound. I think they will still rely on Sam Darnold to move the ball through the air. Because Kevin O'Connell is not a panic guy.
Minnesota, last year after Kirk Cousins got hurt, their biggest issue was turnovers. They were able to still move the ball. Like, Nick Mullins had multiple games, 300. I think he even had over a 400-yard passing game. The big problem with Nick Mullins was threw a lot of interceptions, turned the ball over, killed a lot of drives. Yep. And Sam Darnold, that's what he's been able to avoid. If he continues to avoid that, that's the reason why Kevin O'Connell decided to go to him, because he's been able to find a way with Sam Darnold to limit the turnovers. And he's got a turnover-prone guy behind him. So if Sam Darnold, they're not going to go to the bench. Sam Darnold's their guy. He is their starting quarterback. Unless Sam Darnold gets hurt, that's the only way they would go away from him.
Sam Darnold with the Jets had 15 interceptions, 13 interceptions, 11 interceptions, 13 with Carolina, 3 with Carolina. And so this is my point is, guys, he has, starting out, again, as a rookie quarterback early in his career, yeah, he was turning the ball over. But the last 3 years, guys, 3, 1, and 2. Now, that's in limited action, right? 6 games in the season he threw 3 interceptions, 10 games in the season he threw 1 interception. But that number has gone down dramatically. So maybe he has figured it out. And that is part of the reason why Kevin O'Connell feels more confident with him being under center. John bringing up a good point. We did address this a little bit earlier. Jones can only perform up to the level of their offensive line. If we win up front, we could realistically keep him under 80. And we mentioned their offensive line does have some warts. It is vulnerable, especially in the interior game.
In pass rush, not in run block. That's the issue. And pass rush, yeah, maybe you can get some of that pressure up the middle, but they have been really good at run blocking through 3 games.
800-990-3776. What is the number, the yards, that you feel comfortable with Aaron Jones getting in his return to Lambeau Field where the Packers could still win? The big guy said 160 yesterday. We all sort of feel like maybe that is egregious. Maybe that is not compatible with a win for the Packers.
How is he a football genius? Because he is. He knows more than football than all of us combined. And yet he's going to sit there and say 160 yards and the Packers can still win?
I did some research on that. There seems to be less than 40 times in the history of the NFL where someone rushed for over 160 yards and their team still lost.
I mean, and most of those, I'm guessing,
football games
are pre-Super Bowl era.
Yes, there's a lot of 1950s. I think O.J. Simpson leads the list. Marcus Allen's up there. Yeah. Like it's very much an antiquated version of the NFL.
Before the forward pass was even invented.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not have O.J. Simpson on my bingo card this morning.
When you see his name, it sticks out.
It does.
It's fair. Fair point.
Sticks out when I talk about Professional Construction Inc. because they have been fantastic every time we have a remodeling project or a home addition or just need their help with an around-the-house handy project. The PCI team is here for us, and the PCI team is here for you. Mike and Michelle operate a family-owned company. They believe in building relationships in addition to doing exceptional work. Congratulations to PCI for celebrating their 20th anniversary this summer. You can learn more about PCI at professionalconstructioninc.com. That's professionalconstructioninc.com.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We've got an accident northbound 4394 with the 2 right lanes blocked at Beecher. That means everything's going to be backed up all the way back through the Mitchell interchange down towards Edgerton. Eastbound, you're seeing backups from Highway G to Highway 16, and then again from 92nd Street all the way through the Stadium interchange to about 35th. Southbound 43, watch out for backups from Silver Spring down to Capitol Drive. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Today, sunny skies with a high of 75 at the lake, 78 inland. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 60 at the lake, 53 inland. Weather's brought to you by Tsunami Express Car Wash, where you can expect nothing but the best unlimited wash memberships, state-of-the-art wash technology, and powerful free vacuums located in Oak Creek, Waukesha, Greenfield, and now Milwaukee. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazagon, 94.5 ESPN.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher, and summer is here. But if you want your parking lots and asphalt to be ready for winter, you have to remember the 3 R's from Johnson & Sons Paving. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace if there's constant standing water, buckling, or sinking. Don't scare customers or tenants away because of a bad parking lot. Connect with Johnson & Sons today before minor repairs end up being huge headaches. Schedule an appointment at johnsonsonspaving.com.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sportsbook, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a warehouse manager, her job is to transform chaos into clarity and to see patterns where others see problems. Luckily, she's got a partner who shares her perspective. Grainger offers over 1 million industrial-grade products, backed by real person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The annual Catholic Memorial High School Open House is October 13th. If your family is interested in becoming part of the CMH tradition, make plans now to attend from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday, October 13th. Register at CatholicMemorial.net. As the only school awarded the Exemplary Award for Academic Excellence by the Archdiocese, find out how your student can achieve more at CMH. Tour the school, meet faculty and coaches, learn about all the clubs and extracurricular activities. Register today at CatholicMemorial.net. Catholic Memorial High School, where you rise.
The top 8 at 8.
Name something that follows the word pork. You pine.
Huh? One category.
Name something people take with them to the beach. Turkey.
The top 8 answers.
The first thing you buy in a supermarket. Turkey.
The top 8 at 8.
A food often stuffed. Turkey.
The top 8 at 8 on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Name Popeye's favorite food.
Chicken! Oh my God!
Show me chicken!
The top 8 at 8 on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
All right, Gabe, what do we got?
Got a list of 8 things in front of me. Is Yashi guessing along with this one?
Gotta. I'll play.
Okay. I am looking for So you guys would guess back and forth. And once you each get one incorrect, we move it on to the fans. 800-990-3776. Whoever gets the last one on the list wins that foursome to the Wisconsin Country Club. Join me out there. Find out more about membership information at thewisconsincountryclub.com. I am looking for the last 8 Packers who have more than one 100-yard rushing game in their Packers career. So you have to have multiple 100-yard rushing games, the last 8 Packers players to do it.
So Aaron Jones
is number 1 on the list.
I'm usually good for 1. Then things get dicey.
Joshy?
I feel like A.J. Dillon is on this list, but I know Jamal Williams is on it.
Jamal
good
Williams,
call.
number 2 on the list.
Now, I feel like it's a gamble to go A.J. Dillon. Just feels like...
If Jamal Williams is 2...
You think A.J. Dillon could be 3?
No. I think that would preclude him from being on the list.
How about Eddie Lacy?
Eddie Lacy, number 3 on the list. Multiple 100-yard games ready.
Number 4, James Starks.
Whoa, now you're guessing specific numbers?
I'm trying to go back to who was running the ball in order.
James Starks is number 4. And he only had 2, by the way.
Wow.
Barely qualified for the list.
It must have been in that Super Bowl run.
No, he had the one in the
following
playoff
year?
game, but that does not count. He actually had one. He had one randomly in like 2015. And then
I wouldn't have even known that Starks was still on the team in 2015. Wow, so this is going back, Chris Berman. I'm going to say Ryan Grant.
Is number 5 on the list.
Oh, we are knocking them down right in a row. I'm less confident at what comes after, but is it still time for Amon Green on this
Gotta
list?
be.
Right?
Amon Green, number 7 on the list.
Crazy. I mean, we're talking back in Chewy's day.
So we've got
Almost.
got one in between there, right? Is what we're missing, and then the number 8.
But again, Amon Green was the guy, the bell cow for years and years and years and years. So do we jump straight to Chewy's era? Do we go straight to Doris the Horse?
I think you could do that, or you could. What about did what's his name, Sam Congato, in there sneak a 100-yard game in
twice? All right, poker face.
I don't know what you guys want from me.
I'm going to guess Dorsey Levens.
Not on the list.
Dang it!
I'm just gonna say Gatto. It doesn't feel right. 2 doesn't feel right. It was. I look back on those numbers; they weren't as good as I remember it being.
No, it was as good as you remember it being. Yeah, it was. Sam Congato is indeed number 8 on the list. What do you mean? You looked at those numbers and it wasn't as good as you remember it being.
I guess childhood me felt like he was running all over for...
He ran for almost 600 yards in 8 games, Josh.
I guess it's the 8 games. I felt like it was more games that he was down
definitely, yes. It felt like, because they were so bad in 05, like it kind of feels like it was the entire season.
It felt like he had 1,000,000 yards.
But he had a game of 103, a game of 111, and a game of 171.
We definitely know this name that's stuck in the middle here, but I'm not going to be able to pull it.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Can you reset the list for me?
Aaron Jones, number 1. Jamal Williams, 2. Eddie Lacy, 3. James Starks is 4. Ryan Grant is 5. We need number 6. Amon Green, 7. Sam Congato, number 8. The last 8 Packers running backs who have had multiple 100-yard rushing games. 800-990-3776. Just need the one more. Whoever gets it gets that foursome to the Wisconsin Country Club.
800-990-3776. We did a pretty good job there. But I think part of the reason that we were successful, Joshy, is because some of those guys played for a while.
Yeah.
Right? Amon Green played for a long time. Ryan Grant was the guy for years and years. Aaron Jones, obviously, who's number 1 on the list.
Jamal Williams is as underappreciated, I think, as it gets.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He was really good for the Packers when he was here. He wasn't like a 1,000-yard guy, but in terms of a number 2 back, couldn't ask for anything better.
Ryan from McGuanago tying everything together, saying, Amon Batman Green.
Yep, he had the Batman tattoo.
That was his nickname. 800-990-3776. Let's go out to Justin in Greendale. Justin, we only have one spot left on the top 8 at 8 list this morning. Can you complete the list?
Ty Montgomery.
Ty Montgomery is incorrect. He had one big game of over 100 yards, but he did not have 2.
800-990-3776. Teddy in Watertown, you're up next on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Can you complete the top 8 at 8 list?
Did Cedric Benson have 2?
Cedric Benson did not have 2. I love the guess, though. But Cedric Benson did not have 2.
800-990-3776. John where is John from?
Ixonia.
Ixonia. It looked like a letter salad to me, but Ixonia. You're next on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Can you complete our top 8 at 8 list?
A.J. Dillon.
A.J. Dillon only had 1 in his Packers career so far. Had that big game against the Tennessee Titans, has not followed that up with another triple-digit game.
800-990-3776. Dave in Green Bay, the final guess on our top 8 at 8 list is giving people trouble. Do you have the answer?
Edgar Bennett.
Edgar Bennett is too far back.
800-990-3776. Justin in Lake Geneva. Gabe, did you anticipate that this one on the list would give people so much trouble?
This was going to be the tough one. This was always going to be the tough one.
Justin, you're up next. Can you complete our top 8 at 8 list?
Brandon Jackson.
Brandon Jackson in 2007 and then again in 2010 had 2 100-yard rushing games.
All right, congratulations to Justin in Lake Geneva. You are our big winner this morning on top 8 at 8. Can I tell you something? Brandon Jackson is one of my go-to guesses when it comes to running backs for the Green Bay Packers because he was.
Shouldn't be.
I know, but I covered him. It was early in my career, so it's always like top of mind. And he was such a nice young man.
No respect to Mr. Jackson. Those are days I try and forget.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson. Is that what you're saying?
It wasn't. He was. It was not the best second-round pick the Packers ever had.
Was he out of Nebraska? Why do I have Nebraska?
Yeah, he was. He was out of Nebraska. Yeah, this list was, I was originally just going to do you had to have one because then we could have Josh Jacobs on the list. Ty Montgomery would have ended up on the list. A.J. Dillon. But number 8 would have ended up being damn near impossible.
Who was it?
Jonathan Franklin.
Unfamiliar.
So he was a draft pick for the Packers in his rookie year, third game of the year in 2013, had 100 yards, but he also played a lot of special teams. Had a neck injury, and that was it. Like, he was told by doctors, like, if you get hit wrong, that could be it for you. So he retired, only played like 11 games for the Packers back in 2013. So, yeah, he randomly had a 100-yard game back then.
Very good list. Really appreciate it. I do want to also address this. I do have some folks weighing in on the ESPN Milwaukee talk and text line saying that the line has moved to 3 for the Green Bay Packers. I'm not seeing that on the Potawatomi Sportsbook. On the Potawatomi Sportsbook, it is holding firm at 2.5. I imagine, this is just my guess, when we get some clarity on who is starting, you might see some movement on that line. Maybe if you're at a different sportsbook, maybe you're looking elsewhere, you're getting different numbers, but that's what I'm still seeing.
ESPN bet's still 2.5 as well.
That's what I'm still seeing at Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Roll on right after this, Gabe.
Looking for a better used car interest rate? At Ewald, they make it easy to save thousands during the used car rate reduction event. Get rates as low as 4.9% on Ewald Automotive Group's best used cars. 4.9% on over 600 vehicles at 10 locations. Increase your purchase power with a better used car from the name Milwaukee has trusted for 60 years. All you have to do is go to ewaldauto.com.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Eastbound 94, seeing delays from Highway G to Highway 16 and then 92nd Street through the Stadium interchange to 35th Street. We do have a crash on northbound 4394 right at Beecher Street. It's got the 2 right lanes blocked, backing things up back through the Mitchell interchange all the way to Edgerton. And southbound 43 backed up from Silver Spring down past Capitol Drive. Traffic is brought to you by Fisco Auto Body. Call Fisco Auto Body to help with all body repair needs. Fisco, Fisco, Fisco. And check the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Today, sunny skies, a high of 75 at the lake, 78 inland. And tonight, mainly clear, a low of 60 at the lake, 53 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
At Great Midwest Bank, we've been serving Southeast Wisconsin homeowners for nearly 90 years. Wait. 2024 minus 1935, 89 years. Wow. In our 89 years as a community bank, we've learned a lot about the values of the people who live and work here and appreciate the loyal customers that have made Great Midwest Bank who we are today. Find a location at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local, equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Lock in for October. Brewers postseason tickets are on sale now. Clear your schedule, claim your spot, and be here for a Brewers postseason run you don't want to miss. at brewers.com/postseason.
$1 million. That's big, really big. This September, Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee is handing out a cool million, and you've got a shot at winning your share. The big $1 million giveaway is here. Just play with your rewards card and you're entered to win. Couldn't be easier and couldn't be bigger. No wonder it's called the Big One. For more details, visit paysbig.com/big one. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Are you ready to unleash the beast? Monster Energy is here to give you the edge this college tailgate season. Loaded with bold flavors, our powerful blend gives you the energy you need to push you beyond your limits. Tune in all season long with Monster, the energy drink of ESPN Radio College Football Tour. Power your performance with a drink that's as hungry for victory as you are. Crack open an ice-cold Monster and dominate your competition. Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Grab yours today.
Something amazing is happening in business. More companies are turning to Mac. From finance to fulfillment, CDW will seamlessly support Mac integration into your organization. With the power of Apple Silicon, best-in-class security, and compatibility across your favorite apps, your team will have the performance they need and the tools they love. Make amazing happen. Mac and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/Apple.
Milwaukee College Prep, dedicated to closing the opportunity gap for children in Milwaukee, redefining what's educationally possible so more children can pursue their dreams. Join me, Good Karma Brand's founder CEO Craig Karmazin, and Milwaukee College Prep Thursday, October 17th, and take a stand in closing the opportunity gap for Milwaukee scholars. Your support means quality education accessible to over 2,000 scholars in Milwaukee's most challenged communities. Milwaukee College Prep is closing the opportunity gap. To learn more and purchase tickets, go to MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com and click support.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Come on, guys. Let's think about this. Could you do 50 straight days of burgers?
That was very condescending. I just
No,
want to be
no,
clear
that's
on
not.
the
Let's put our heads together.
Do this.
Again, I have children. I know condescending when I hear it.
I can be. Come on,
On 94.5 ESPN.
Back here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, and there is no question that we are existing in, navigating a very different college football space than we are accustomed to. If you have been following college football, there are people out there who believe that the game is a far cry from the game they grew up in, game they grew up following. A lot of that is the influx of money. A lot of that is the newfound power that athletes have. And I think this example of UNLV's quarterback, Matthew, is it Sluka? I feel like I should know how to pronounce his name.
But I pronounce it Sluka.
But I have never talked about this kid before. Maybe I should have, because UNLV is an undefeated team. And as it stands currently, all undefeated teams have a path to the college football playoff. But Sluka has decided that he will not continue this season with UNLV. In fact, he is going to use a redshirt year because there is unfulfilled money. He was promised, according to him and his agent, $100,000 from an assistant coach to go to UNLV. He was a transfer student, famously went into the transfer portal. And he and his people are saying he only received $3,000. $3,000 of a promised $100,000. Now, there is a lot of nuance in here. There are a lot of articles if you're interested in diving into those. But Gabe, what this basically comes down to is mouths writing checks that they are then not signing, that they are then not handing out. And there's been a lot of criticism of this young man and his agents, his representation, for not getting the deal in writing, for not having a contract with the university or the collective or whoever it is, because university program cannot legally until this thing goes through, this antitrust lawsuit
as the lawsuit
gets settled,
finalizing and all that. Yeah.
Until that happens, the universities cannot hand over a check to the athletes, but the collectives can, and that's kind of been the way that teams are getting around it. Do you blame the kid for not doing his due diligence?
No, I blame the university for promising. I blame the offensive coordinator, Because these are supposed to be the leaders of men. They're the leaders of men, Jen. The leaders of men, their word is their bond.
Now I'm thinking of Jerry Maguire.
So, I blame the offensive coordinator who promised it, but there's no. I mean, again, this is where the NCAA has failed in this whole thing. They just decided to put their heads in the sand and just kind of let whatever happen. So, yes, should they have gotten a contract? Probably. But how many kids out there actually do have contracts for the money that was promised for them? I'm thinking the kid that transferred from Alabama to Iowa got some money and went back to Alabama. I'm guessing there was no contract there that the university ended up getting burned on. I'm guessing there's not a lot of these contracts because even though now it's all above board and you can talk about it openly and freely, that still some of it's happening under the table without a lot of these contracts being signed. And teams and schools are trying to come up with, how are we going to get this money now that we promised this kid?
So there's a few things at play here. Whether you like it or not, the top tier rosters in college football are costing $20 million. And that number is likely to go up. So we could be looking at $30 million over the next few years. That's the big conversation that we were having about Tennessee last week when Danny White, the athletic director, tacked on the tax to the tickets because they're trying to come up with new ways to make money. Donors are like, no mas, no more. I've given all of the money that I can give, that I can write off legally on my tax returns, et cetera, et cetera. So $20 million to field a roster. The other thing is, and this is what I told you guys that Nick Saban had told us on one of our conference calls, is people get the transfer portal wrong. It is not always a disgruntled athlete. In this instance here, Sluka was not disgruntled or unhappy with how things were going at his previous school. It is more likely that a school, UNLV, looked around and said, we can't compete without a top-tier quarterback. We do not have enough talent at that position. And then they look and see who some of the top performers are at some of the other programs who might be looking to move up. And they reach out to their representation and they say, here's how much we could give your guy, your player, your athlete, if he comes to our school. None of that, Gabe, can be put in writing.
Nope.
These are all backdoor conversations that then fuel the athlete's decision to jump into the transfer portal, already knowing where they're going to go because they have talked money. They have talked turkey. Like, that's the misinterpretation that I think a lot of sports fans have out there, is they think that all of this stuff is, well, how did you not get it in writing? Well, because the conversation was happening when he was still at his previous school.
When the conversation couldn't legally happen.
Yeah, I give no value to the UNLV and the NIL collective saying this never happened, because they can't say that, because they would be admitting to improper benefits and recruiting of a player. So them saying we didn't actually promise him this money is what you have to say to avoid legal trouble. So take that for what it is. I mean, if I wasn't paid to come here, I would not be showing up here any longer. As much as I like all you guys.
What if we paid you 3% of what you're making?
That
still walking out the door?
Yeah,
still walking.
Still going to be looking for other employment.
Okay, all right.
And I think that's a really good analogy, Joshy, because it is big business. It is no longer, quote unquote, for love of the game. And you can hate it, you can despise it, you can stomp your feet and pound your fists about how we've gotten away from the innocence, quote unquote, of college sports. But this is where we are. So I feel for this kid who went in good faith to a program he thought would not only elevate him, right, because now he's on a bigger stage, getting more attention, playing for an undefeated team, but would also pay him. This is proprietary. He has a talent that very few people have. And for him to not, in this day and age, be getting paid for that talent, that's not okay. It's not okay. It's not acceptable. I am applauding him for taking a stand and walking away and saying, I don't need it. I don't need it. Now, there are going to be people, guys, and I've already seen it on social media, who will criticize him as a teammate. We saw it with Simone Biles, right? It was the most famous instance of when she was dealing with her mental health challenges, when she was dealing with the twisties and decided, it's not good for me to be here. I need to take a break. People were like, you quitter. Quit on your team? What kind of teammate are you? You're going to see that here, Gabe. Is that fair?
No. And again, this is where it becomes tricky because, you know, when you talk about sports, it's supposed to be for the love of the game. We've heard Chewy talk about, man, it's tough. It's tough to feel like you're letting your guys down. But if Chewy was here and we asked him, all right, if the Packers only paid 3% of what they owed you, he's not stepping out on that field. And this is no longer amateur athletics. This is professional athletics. This is big boy stuff. So if we want to equate regular life stuff, if you get hired for a job and they pay you 3%, and granted, yes, we're not all the way through the season, but we're a quarter of the way through the season for college football. They've played 3. They're like, okay, then he should probably have $25,000. They're woefully short. However you cut this in, and if you aren't being paid for what you were promised, walk away. That's what you do in business. Hey, you're not paying me for services rendered. Okay, I'm out.
And I will tell you this, guys, if he played the entire season, giving the program or the collective, whoever you want to pin on here, the benefit of the doubt, you'd be like, sucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? At the end of the year, you'd be like, no one told you had to play the whole season, right? He's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't. And so in this instance, he and his family and his agents have had the conversation of, and maybe they're trying to play a little hardball. Maybe they're trying to pressure the collective and the people who were supposed to pay him to pay him. Maybe he would say, you know what, I'll come back. I'll play if you give me what was promised to me. But this feels like a new uncharted frontier that is going to have significant domino effects in college football games.
The coaching staff is the one that let the team down. They made a promise that they didn't live up to. And that's just as much of this as well. Like the team, the coaches are the ones responsible for this whole thing. They promised $100K. They could not deliver. They let the team down. And they're going to let the team down going forward because I guarantee the next quarterback that they talk to is going to go, okay, but can you actually pay me? Do you actually have that money? Like that's going to be something that UNLV is going to have to deal with. But that's part of, and again, that's the hit that they're going to have to take. And that's I doubt that we see Power 5 schools, or I guess it's Power 4. I mean,
it is, yeah.
Let's be honest here. So I doubt Power 4 schools like Wisconsin operate like this because they know if they promise an amount of money to a kid and he comes here and they don't live up to that, that's going to get around. And then best of luck to you and your program getting another high-level kid that you promised money to.
Do they need a salary cap, Joshy? Does college football, and again, this would go, it always brings back to Northwestern and the unionizing and all of those things. Does college football need a salary cap so that there is a certain amount of money allocated and you have to have it in the kitty, quote unquote, in order to enter into these sort of negotiations, enter into these sort of agreements with players?
I think that's the best way to balance the playing field. The teams like Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, they are still going to, even with a salary cap, get the highest level of talent, but it's going to allow the talent to be more spread out. The way through this is simply employment contracts. Here's how much you're coming to play for how long, and for how much money. You can circumvent multiple issues, the constant the transferring, all that stuff. Even if it's just 1 year, though, you can find yourself in a spot where you have, here's how much you are playing for at this school. You can seek other options, but guess what? Once you're here, you're here. This is how much you get paid. There's none of this dancing around, and it's still going to be circumvented. It's college football. It's the sleaziest sport we have.
But that's the problem, right? Like, even if you throw a salary cap on it, then doesn't that just get us right back to when players weren't allowed to get paid?
It does, and I mean...
Because then you could just do under-the-table deals to, okay, your contract says you're getting $500K as this quarterback, but... we've got a booster who's willing to throw in another $200,000.
I do think NIL is still going to exist regardless, because once you've cracked that egg, like, those kids are still going to be able to be the representation of. I mean, it's like the car dealerships. Like the thing with Las Vegas is there a shortage of money there or something? Is something going on in Vegas? Are the casinos taking a bath? Because it feels like one place where they should be able to pony up $100,000 for a quarterback. That seems weird to me.
Yeah, they would have to have a vested interest, though, in the team being good. And I'm not sure that, as much money as we perceive there to be in Vegas, and there is a boatload.
Isn't a casino itself.
Well, that's what I was going to say. But to Joshy's point, wouldn't that be the first place you were going? UNLV presented by Wynn? UNLV presented by the Mirage?
Did UNLV have a slot machine on their sideline? Do I not remember? It was the latest form of the turnover chain thing, and they went over and pulled the big slot machine.
But it wasn't an operational slot machine, Josh. It's not like they were lining up in the stands, coming down from the bleachers, putting in their $5 trying to hit the big one.
But casinos are in partnership with colleges at this point. That Rubicon has been crossed.
Yeah, but UNLV is not a big time. It's not a big enough program where BetMGM is going to go, it's going to get us a lot of exposure. UNLV. Not when we're the official betting partner of the NFL.
Well, and here's the thing, and again, the challenge is, of course, the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, right? But this kid's dad is saying that he chose UNLV, less money because he wanted to go there. He believed in the program and the structure and all of those type of things. When he was offered 25 other NIL deals from other schools, Big Ten, SEC, 4 and 5 times the amount of money we were willing to take from UNLV. Now, could I talk to Coach Saban this week at game day and ask him, like, hey, what's the real deal there? Because Coach Saban knows all of this stuff. Like, he knows the conversations. And maybe he would say, yes, that's absolutely true. He was being recruited by quote unquote. There was interest there from Big Ten programs and SEC programs. Or he might say, no, there wasn't. Like, Dad's just saying that to make it seem like, hey, we chose this place over all of these other options. I don't know what the truth of that situation is. And that, of course, is why this is so intriguing, because there seem to be multiple versions of what went down with this young man at UNLV.
I tend to think it sides more with him. Like, maybe it wasn't a full 100,000, but again, it comes back to UNLV having to deny the whole thing because they reached out to him when he still had a scholarship from somebody else before he entered the transfer portal. Which is like, is that the one rule? Is that the one rule they have in college football? You can't talk to another player unless they actually enter the transfer portal.
Which, again, is not happening.
Correct.
There are conversations.
I feel like that's the one thing that you
The loophole is, and I want to be very clear on this, the loophole is the conversations are not taking place with the player. They are taking place with their representatives, right?
Yeah.
They're backdoor conversations of, if we were to offer X amount of dollars, would so-and-so be interested in jumping in the transfer portal? And for clarification's sake, he was at Holy Cross. He played 4 seasons at Holy Cross, has 1 more year of eligibility that he will use at another school next season. Really fascinating stuff happening in the college football space, and we will keep our eye on the dominoes that this situation starts to knock over. Got to take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Wrap up the show right after this. But first, guys, for your next night out, make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate, the Arts Hotel, your dinner destination. It's nestled on the 2nd floor of St. Kate, and I love that they use the word nestled, guys, because it is very cozy. It's right there in the corner. It is lovely decor. And of course, it offers culinary creativity. Artisanal American cuisine, transcending tradition, leaning into the realm of playful and inventive flavors. Come and experience the magic of Aria, where every bite is a work of culinary artistry. Learn more at Aria at stkate.com. That's Aria, A-R-I-A, at stkate.com.
Never miss out on a second of the show. Find Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand. Sponsored by Celsius Essential Energy Drink.
For your next night out, make Aria, the acclaimed restaurant inside St. Kate the Arts Hotel, your dinner destination. Aria, nestled on the 2nd floor of St. Kate, is an artful dining experience that captivates with its culinary creativity. Delighting in its offering of artisanal American cuisine, the restaurant transcends tradition and leans into the realm of playful and inventive flavors. Come and experience the magic of Aria, where every bite is a work of culinary artistry. Learn more and make reservations at aria at stkate.com.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too.
She absolutely nailed it.
Are you talking about Jenny Sambeline? Yeah, Jenny and her pendant, the music in a mother's heart. Hi, Rick. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Monica. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Jenny, we're going to produce your pendant design as a limited edition collector's item and put a few of them in all of our 8 Kessler stores.
Congratulations, Jenny. Wow, this is huge. Jenny, we expect the music in a mother's heart to sell out very quickly.
We'll also make a few available online.
I designed that pendant from the memory of how my mother made me feel when we'd sing together.
How often did that happen?
Constantly. We'd sing along with whatever was playing on the radio, or sometimes we would watch a musical on TV and sing along with that.
At just $124, the music in a mother's heart is going to sell out lightning fast.
I'm buying one.
I'm buying one. I bought the prototype the moment I saw it.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play, like Bear Dynasty interior paint, their most durable one-coat hide paint ever. From a team color statement wall to a fan cave, complete with a mural honoring Nick Saban's 17-year dynasty.
Hey, I like that idea.
Nothing beats Bear Dynasty Interior Paint. It's everything you need all in one can.
Defend your game time with Bear and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Valid only when tinted to colors from the Bear Dynasty and Marquee Interior One Coat Hide Color Collection.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town, with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now, when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats too. Your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Don't miss a moment of football this season at 3rd Street Market Hall in downtown Milwaukee, your one-stop, must-stop viewing destination. 3rd Street Market Hall has over 15 locally owned food vendors, a self-serve beer wall, over 50 HD TVs, and game day specials. What more could you need? If you're not at the game, this is the place to be every Saturday and Sunday. View the vendor list and 30 self-serve beer options at thirdstreetmarkethall.com. That's thirdstreetmarkethall.com.
For your fellow fanatics and your number one fans. For your game day compatriots and your everyday companions. For your personal cheerleaders and your personal heroes. For the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Learn more at deltadentalwi.com today.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
So you mentioned Super Bowls and parties and how they don't go hand in hand, which again is an absurd comment by you two, but it's just one of many on the show.
Dumber thing that Chewy has said this morning. Super Bowls and parties don't go hand in hand, or cheddar is not a top 10 cheese.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Here we go.
Accutrans is a veteran-owned business dedicated to providing unmatched corporate, personal, and event-related transportation that you will use again and again. I have told you guys over and over, when I need a ride from O'Hare Airport to my home in Mequon, Wisconsin, Accutrans handles it for me. And got to remind you guys, you got big dances coming up for your kids, right? My kid's going to homecoming in just a few weeks. Accutrans will handle their transportation for you, taking them from your home to dinner, from dinner to the dance, from the dance back to home, and you do not need to worry. They are reliable. They are safe. I would use it for my kiddo and all of his friends, and you should too. Visit their website, accutransgroup.com, to get a quote and book a reservation today.
It's on a budget. So
here we go.
Feel like we put some stuff on the old Twitter polls today. Always, you can follow Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Couple things up there.
How many yards from scrimmage can Aaron Jones have and the Packers still win the game? 75 or under, 100 or under, 125 or under, 150 or under. 100 or under is running away with this one with 46% of the vote. Gabe, do you feel comfortable if Aaron Jones racks up 100 yards, receiving and rushing this weekend, Packers can still walk out of there with the W?
Yeah, they can absolutely walk out of there with the W at 100 under. I feel very good. That was my vote, was 100 under. You?
I agree with 100. Shocking that we didn't put 160 on there for Chew. He doesn't know how to vote on a Twitter poll, so unfortunately, we wouldn't have even gotten one.
160? He actually said 160 yesterday?
Yes, he did.
What was the yes?
It was a thing that happened.
Yes.
We kind of just reacted to it and moved on. Well, okay.
The other question we asked you this morning, who will be the biggest determining factor other than Jordan Love for the Packers on Sunday against the Vikings? Again, operating from the position that we believe Jordan Love will be under center. Nothing official from the Packers as they continue to do the Willie or won't he dance, trying to keep the mystery alive in that relationship. Josh Jacobs, your options. Jaden Reed, Matt LaFleur, or other. You could write it in. Gabe, remind me what your pick on that was?
I said Jaden Reed. I think it's really important to get him involved early to try to have the Vikings back off some of the hiding stuff, back off having so many people around the line of scrimmage, back off, and that could open up some things for Josh Jacobs.
8.9% of people, so 9% of people agree with you that Jaden Reed will be the biggest determining factor. Meanwhile, 31% of people say it is going to be Josh Jacobs. Remind everybody, we talked about it earlier in the show, your concern about Josh Jacobs is that run defense?
Minnesota's very good at stopping the run. They are the number 2 run defense according to Pro Football Focus.
So therefore, that explains why 53% of people have said Matt LaFleur, because Matt LaFleur has been in his bag lately, right? Obviously, with Malik Willis under center, Matt LaFleur drew up a game plan that was very good for him. It played to his strengths. It limited his deficiencies. Not that you have that same challenge when Jordan Love is under center, but if you believe that Jordan Love will be limited at all, still dealing with that knee or coming off of that knee, hesitant on that knee, then Matt LaFleur will have to put his quarterback in a position to succeed as well. And that's why 53% of people are saying he's the guy who will be the difference maker.
Yeah, and it's against a defense that's playing better than the ones you've faced the last 2 weeks. It's not like Indianapolis or Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee was playing well against the run, and with the running backs did play well against the run. The Packers were able to get a big yardage total thanks to Malik Willis. But, Tennessee's been pretty good against the run. But yeah, this is just a different defense, the way that they've been operating and the way that they were able to play against 2 high-powered offenses in San Francisco and Houston.
Speaking of defense, the defense getting a lot of love in the other category. Barry saying it's Jair Alexander. He's going to have to shut down Justin Jefferson. Mark saying Tucker Kraft is the guy, and Matt Johnson saying the run defense for the Packers will have to come to play.
When's the last time the Packers run defense actually came to play?
Last week.
When's the last time the Packers run defense actually came to play?
Rejecting that answer on principle?
This week?
Yeah, okay. But against a good running team. When's the last time they came?
Will the Tausch is next on ESPN Milwaukee. Have a great one, everybody.
Northbound on 4394. We have an accident at Beecher that has the 2 right lanes closed.